very much, and I'm thrilled to be back with the hardworking, God-fearing, card-carrying patriots of the NRA. As your president, that's exactly what I did. We saved our Second Amendment, and we're going to save it for a long time to come. I was proud to be the most pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment president you've ever had in the White House.
If you take away guns, you can't do it because people need the guns for protection. If you look at some countries, I don't want to get them in trouble, but some countries have actually gone the opposite way.
ATF faces challenges. ATF Director Steve Dettelbach met with the local police chief in August at a recently built Armed Crime Intelligence Center in an Ohio community to talk about the future. The $1.6 billion budget for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, which is in charge of regulating and monitoring firearms, was cut by Congress by about $50 million. The cutbacks prevented an increase of agents to counteract the usual summertime spike in crime. There are no training courses for new officers to take the place of retired ones. Additionally, local law enforcement organizations have demanded that the bullet tracing equipment that aid in their investigation of violent crimes be operated. Regarding ATF's efforts to combat crime, Dettelbach told the Cincinnati authorities, "The work we do is just wildly apolitical." He also expressed his hope that future financial cuts would not be made. "It's mostly just noise. We'll observe the situation." President-elect Donald Trump, who has criticized ATF and promised to reverse some of its regulations when he takes office, is set to take office in Washington about 5 months from now. Trump referred to Dettelbach, who was nominated by President Joe Biden, as an anti-gun fanatic at an NRA gathering in May and said that his leadership had been a disaster.
Very much, and I'm thrilled to be back with the hardworking, God-fearing, card-carrying patriots of the NRA. As your president, that's exactly what I did. We saved our Second Amendment, and we're going to save it for a long time to come.
These and other problems are going to continue to happen until Congress passes reciprocity. H.R. 38, this bill we're talking about, protects the right of every adult from a constitutional carry.
H.R. 8 would not have stopped Parkland. It would not have stopped Las Vegas or Sutherland Springs or San Bernardino.
Steve Dettelbach resigns. A spokesperson for the ATF confirmed last week to The Reload that the agency's director Steve Dettelbach will step down on January 18th. His resignation comes just days before President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. Christina Mastro-Pasqua, the ATF's chief of public affairs, stated that the move is typical in a transition and aligns with a December 19th memorandum sent to all presidential appointees. This announcement follows Trump's earlier campaign promise to the National Rifle Association members to sack the radical gun grabber Steve Dettelbach on his first day in office. Dettelbach's tenure at the ATF has been marked by significant initiatives, some of which have drawn criticism from arms rights advocates while being lauded by others for advancing public safety. In his resignation letter, Dettelbach expressed gratitude to President Joe Biden, stating, "It was the honor of my professional career to serve at ATF in your administration. As you said when nominating me to be ATF director, the mission of this agency isn't controversial, it's public safety. I have now seen the brave and talented people at ATF live out your words for years, and we have realized results." Dettelbach highlighted a 2-year decline in violent crime rates during his leadership, including reductions in firearms-related crimes. He attributed these improvements to the efforts of the ATF's workforce and their many partners, stating, "The heroic, talented, and hardworking people at ATF fought hard and risked everything to gain that ground, and Americans are better off for it." Dettelbach was nominated by President Biden in April 2022 and confirmed by the Senate in July 2022, becoming the first Senate-confirmed ATF director since 2015. During his tenure, he implemented several impactful initiatives.
Wavering, support of the Second Amendment. Back in November, Trump obviously promised national reciprocity.
Pushing constitutional reciprocity real hard. I was just meeting with the sponsor of the legislation. These and other problems are going to continue to happen until Congress passes reciprocity. H.R. 38, this bill we're talking about, protects the right of every adult from a constitutional carry. H.R. 38 actually protects your right to carry that magazine with your gun in any one of those anti-gun states.
Implementation of the bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Under Dettelbach's leadership, the ATF played a critical role in enforcing provisions of the bipartisan Safer Communities Act. One of the agency's hallmark efforts was its zero-tolerance policy, introduced by the Biden administration in June 2021 and more rigorously enforced after Dettelbach's confirmation. This policy focused on revoking the licenses of armed dealers who willfully violated federal arm laws. Qualifying violations included transferring firearms to prohibited individuals, failing to conduct background checks, falsifying records, and refusing ATF inspections. Armed dealer inspections and license revocations increased notably during his tenure, a shift that drew sharp criticism from groups like the National Shooting Sports Foundation. These organizations argued that some violations were minor infractions rather than willful breaches of federal law. Nevertheless, the policy marked a significant shift in ATF enforcement priorities. Dettelbach's tenure saw the finalization of rules to address pressing issues, such as ghost arms and short-barreled assault weapons equipped with arm braces. These innovations had proliferated during a period of leadership instability at the ATF. Additionally, Dettelbach raised awareness about the growing prevalence of Glock switches and other mash gun conversion devices, which were increasingly linked to violent crime scenes. He helped establish emerging threats task forces to combat these developments and reduce their impact on public safety.
House Democrats say they want to do something to end gun violence, and anyone who disagrees with their policies doesn't care. They won't even allow my bipartisan concealed carry reciprocity bill that passed this House last Congress to be debated on the House floor today. There is no gun show loophole. Federal law already requires a background check on every commercial gun purchase in America. H.R. 8 would not have stopped Parkland. It would not have stopped Las Vegas or Sutherland Springs or San Bernardino and giving schools the tools they need to protect students. All these bills received bipartisan support in the last Congress.
Gun Crime Survivor Summit. In a first for the ATF, Dettelbach organized the Gun Violence Survivor Summit, which brought together over 200 survivors to share their experiences with law enforcement officials, U.S. attorneys, healthcare professionals, and victims advocates. This groundbreaking event culminated in the installation of a permanent exhibit at ATF headquarters called Faces of Gun Violence. The exhibit serves as a poignant reminder of the agency's mission and the human cost of gun crime. During his leadership, Dettelbach oversaw 5 cross-jurisdictional strike forces aimed at disrupting armed trafficking networks. The ATF also published Volumes 2, 3, and 4 of its National Firearms Commerce and Trafficking Assessment, offering detailed insights into armed trafficking trends and highlighting top manufacturers of crime arms in the U.S. These efforts underscored the importance of robust data and intelligence in addressing the complex issue of armed trafficking. Another notable achievement was the expansion of the ATF's Crime Gun Intelligence Centers. Dettelbach oversaw the establishment of new CGICs in Columbus and Cleveland and announced plans for another in Chicago, adding to the more than 60 centers already operating nationwide. These centers bring together firearm evidence examiners, intelligence analysts, and investigators to streamline the collection, analysis, and sharing of information related to firearms used in violent crimes. In May 2023, the ATF also launched a national CGIC training center in Wichita to bolster its capabilities further. Challenges and criticism. Despite his accomplishments, Dettelbach's leadership faced significant opposition from armed rights groups and industry stakeholders. Critics argued that the ATF's enforcement of the zero-tolerance policy and other initiatives unfairly targeted law-abiding arms dealers. The National Rifle Association and other advocacy groups frequently clashed with Dettelbach over his efforts to regulate ghost arms, arm braces, and unlicensed arm dealing. Additionally, some critics pointed to the ATF's history of being under-resourced and questioned whether the agency could effectively implement its ambitious agenda without additional funding and staffing. The ATF's fiscal year 2025 budget request emphasized the need for increased resources, citing rising firearm-related violent crime and the growing demand for the agency's expertise. During this time, the arms industry capitalized on the ATF's limited capacity to enforce regulations and advocate for additional resources. Strong leadership is critical to the agency's ability to fulfill its public safety mission, particularly as firearm-related crime continues to pose significant challenges across the country. Dettelbach's tenure demonstrated the impact that effective leadership can have on advancing the ATF's mission. His efforts to crack down on armed trafficking, enforce federal regulations, and support survivors of armed crime have left a lasting legacy. However, the agency's ability to build on these successes will depend on the appointment of a capable successor who can navigate the political and operational challenges facing the ATF. The need for robust leadership is especially evident in the context of the ATF's limited capacity to inspect armed dealers. With tens of thousands of armed dealers nationwide, the agency can only inspect a fraction each year. Before Dettelbach's appointment, the ATF faced criticism for allowing repeat offenders to evade accountability despite significant violations. Dettelbach's leadership marked a turning point, but sustaining this progress will require continued focus and resources. Looking ahead. As Dettelbach steps down, the ATF faces a critical juncture. The agency's ability to address emerging threats and uphold public safety depends on strong leadership and adequate resources. Without a Senate-confirmed director, the ATF risks losing momentum in its efforts to combat armed crime and regulate the firearms industry effectively. President-elect Trump's decision regarding the ATF's next leader will have far-reaching implications for the agency and its mission. Whether the new administration prioritizes the ATF's role in addressing firearm-related crime or scales back its efforts remains to be seen. For now, the legacy of Steve Dettelbach's leadership serves as a reminder of the importance of a well-resourced and strategically led ATF in ensuring public safety. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.